obviously these are nice cars, so it deadens the sound. Oh my God! Yes!
It sounds like a GTR. That sounds really good. Yes, mark it down in the history books, boys. Mike was washing his car at home for what might be the first time in 5 years since I lived in the apartment. Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having a great day. Today's the day. You know, I've had this Gladiator now for about what, 2 weeks? Maybe less, and that exhaust has just been begging to be cut off. My Sawzall cries every day because I haven't used it yet. Now let me show you something here. Jeep, you went a little overboard with your use of mufflers. Now I get it, you know, you don't want it to be too loud, but why is there 1, 2, 3 mufflers on this Jeep? Why? Tell me one good reason why there would be a need for that many mufflers. I can't even hear the thing at all when I drive, and I feel like it'll be a good, deep-sounding little V6. The other crazy thing about the exhaust is, up at the front, now I'm not gonna do anything with this yet. I might do something with the downpipe later on, but look how clean this Jeep is. It's brand new. I'm gonna undercoat everything so that the rust, you know, doesn't happen for the wintertime coming up. But they have this crossover pipe, and on the JKs, what happened was when people were wheeling with it, the front drive shaft would come down and hit the exhaust. So in order to rectify that, they brought this crossover pipe down here, they put a bend in it. And look at this system here. The cat is up top, and then it comes around, does a full loop, and then connects with the other pipe and goes back. That's like a crazy setup. It's wild. I feel like there would have been a better way to do that whole thing, but maybe, I mean, they gotta be smarter than me, right? So I guess not. But anyway, the cool thing about this Jeep is, being a truck, we don't have to worry about the exhaust, because in PA where I live, as long as the exhaust is past the passenger compartment of the vehicle, it's legal, and if it's piped out or downpiped. So if I cut right here and bring the exhaust straight back and then just downpipe it or cut it out to the side, because it's a truck, as long as we get to this point right here, we are totally legal. So I'm gonna cut it off here, and you know, I might get an exhaust system for it, I might not. I feel like I probably won't, just because I don't think I need one. You know, I've never been, like on trucks, I don't feel like I need a fancy exhaust. On a car, it's one thing, like you want it to look nice. But on a truck, I actually kind of like when you can't see it at all. Like my Duramax is downpiped. Now I do have a nice tip on it because, you know, everybody likes a nice tip. But for the Jeep, I think like not even seeing it at all will be kind of cool. But anyway, I'm gonna break out the Sawzall and we're gonna go to town, boys. Might actually be able to disconnect this pipe and not cut it. Should I cut it? I have to cut it. The Sawzall has been dying to get used. The Sawzall needs to get used. Go, little buddy. Which one of you wants to get... See, this is how much I love the Sawzall. I got 2 of them. You know, I think you were the last one to get used. Or actually he was. So we're gonna use you today. Don't worry, don't worry. Don't worry either, Jeep. I'm not doing nothing with this, don't worry. Oh yeah. And I don't have a brand new pack of metal cutting blades either. Sure don't. But on a real note, I do want to do a little before and after sound comparison. So here is the startup of the factory exhaust. So you really can't hear anything at all. Give her a few revs. Okay, so there is your before, and now it's time for surgery. This back section here is actually kind of a nice black little turn down pipe. So I'm going to cut here, and I can maybe save a little cash and reuse this whole thing when I downpipe it. That would be kind of nice and super easy. I think the inlet is the same. I think all Jeep exhausts stock, whether it's a Gladiator or just a regular JL, whatever, I think they're all 2.5 inches. I think it's a 2.5 inch pipe. So I'm going to cut here and then unbolt it, and then I can maybe reuse this. I want to cut it as far over as possible so we can reuse as much as we can. Okay, get a little muffler in case it's too loud. And I think I have enough overhang there to connect that should give us enough to connect a pipe and clamp it down. So that's kind of nice, in case we need it. After the rear section and that front part, the only thing holding the exhaust on now is that little bracket and one more bracket in the center. So we don't have to cut anything more. I'll just unbolt those, and then it should come right down. Yep, it's a 13. Let's see if I can lift this up out of the way here. Whoa! Okay, done deal. The mufflers are off, and as easy as that. Takes about 10 minutes, and then we'll have to rebuild a little front section. But honestly, you know, I mean, unless you want like a nice, really nice tip, and you want it to come out the back and you want it to look all good, trucks don't need an exhaust. Like, I would never spend, you know, 600, 700, 800 bucks on an exhaust when you can cut it off. You can get, like, go to any muffler shop, they can make you a pipe, or you could even just cut out the muffler sections and then just weld a pipe in for like less than 100 bucks. I mean, that's how I would do it. You could even keep the stock exhaust, this whole thing, and just cut out the mufflers, give you great volume, and it would cost, again, I'm sure you could find somebody to do it for like 100 bucks, maybe 150. That's the way to do it. Again, unless you really care about having like a really nice looking exhaust, which I'm not sure why you would. Unless you want that, I say just cut it off yourself. Okay. Again, what I'm talking about is if you wanted to keep this, you could cut that, leave it on the truck, cut that, weld a pipe, cut that, cut up there, weld a pipe, and you could do that for like probably 100 bucks. See how she sounds, boys. Let's see it. Ooh, I like the sound of that. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh wow. Wow. Is it just me, or does that sound like a GTR? It sounds like a GTR.
I can't wait. Okay.
That sounds really good. See, you can't beat that. 15 minutes and totally free. That sounds really, really good. Hold on a second. Like, I'm standing here talking normally. It's not like it's crazy loud. So it's gonna sound good, but it's not ridiculous, which is nice. I mean, in here it's pretty, you know, it's not like you're gonna hear it. If we put the windows up, get in here, put the window up. That's not that loud. I can't believe how good that sounds. That sounds like a freaking GTR. All the GTR guys. Oh man, that is funny. That is funny. All the GTR guys, you sound like a Jeep. That is awesome. Sounds really good. I'm happy with it. And yeah, we'll figure out a more elegant looking solution shortly, but for now, that's perfect. One other little thing I wanted to do that I picked up at Advanced Auto for about 10 bucks was a new antenna. Jeep sells their vehicles with that stupid like fishing pole thing. It's like 10 feet high. It looks awful. So I don't know if I want to go with the super stubby or the medium, because I like the look of an antenna. Those bullet ones are kind of cool, but I like something a little bit, so I'm thinking a little bit bigger, maybe like that. Little details matter, folks. The little things matter. Well, there you go. That's what a straight piped, pretty much. We still have the cats on, but I mean, we have no restriction at all past the two little cats. So that's what a straight piped JL or Gladiator sounds like. Gotta admit, it's pretty darn good. I thought it was gonna kind of sound like crap, but that sounded epic. Exactly like a GTR. If you guys know what a GTR sounds like, I'll put in a clip. That sounds exactly like a GTR. Now, of course, I really only did it so that the Sawzall wasn't so sad, because now who knows? It could be another, I mean, it might be another 3 or 4 months before it gets used again. But that is really cool. So I'm going to go get a connection piece now and see if we can attach that little muffler so we have a kind of a nice tip to it rather than just being cut off. Heck of a system. I mean, that is crazy. A whole dual muffler setup, or you know, maybe one's technically a resonator or something, but it's pretty wild. I mean, a lot of cuts, a lot of bends, a lot of restriction. I mean, it's pretty crazy how much work they put into the exhaust just for it to get cut off anyway. They should have asked me before they did it. I would have told them like, hey, don't waste your time, like it's fine. So far, it sounds really good, and surprisingly, you really don't hear it much at all just driving around. I'll get on it a little bit up here, but my only concern is this exhaust was so restrictive from the factory. I wonder if they tuned the engine that way to account for that, because I mean, it was so restrictive, and now it's got a lot more airflow. So that is one thing that might be an issue, but I'll let you know if the check engine light comes on. I don't think it will, but it could. Newer vehicles, you never know. Like an old truck, you can cut whatever you want off and it'll be fine, but new vehicles, they're a lot more finicky. So you don't know if something's gonna trip some type of sensor somewhere, but so far it seems good. And you can tell it makes a little noise, but if I put the windows up, it's really not loud at all. I mean, like, it's got a little hum to it, but it's not much louder than stock. You can definitely hear it, but then as soon as you're in a lower gear, higher gear, nothing. I like that. It actually sounds really good. Like, it really does. I'm not just saying that for the video, it sounds good. See right here, I brought it in with me just to be safe, but it's a 2.5. 2.25, 2.5 to 2.25. We need 2.5 to 2.5. That one's too big. We might have to get creative. Oh, really? Do we need a deep well socket? Of course we do. Why wouldn't we? Feels like it's not going to go anywhere, and now we have a pretty good looking little system. Now, it doesn't look fantastic, especially with these clamps here, but it looks relatively factory, and we have a little muffler on there. Nice little downpipe. It's not quite at the bed, but it's pretty close. It's at least, you know, past basically where people are going to be sitting, and it's pretty good. Now, it does have a hanger up there, so it's supported. It's not just, you know, off the header or anything or way up there. So it's got a support right there. It might wobble around a little bit, but I can't see that being a problem. And again, it looks, you know, it looks a lot nicer that way. It looks like it sort of could be factory, or like it's supposed to be there, not just hacked off and with a cheap little downpipe. This is actually kind of nice. So I think for now, that's where we're gonna leave it, and let's see one more time what it sounds like. I don't think that little muffler thing is gonna change the sound much, but maybe a little bit. It actually did kind of like clean it up a little bit. It's not so like fart sounding now. If that's a good way to put it. That's actually really nice. So now it sounds real. It might have been just a tad too raw before, but now it sounds perfect. Really, that's pretty good, I have to say. For less than 15 bucks and only about an hour of your time, that is a really good result. It was kind of like poppy before. Yeah, I think we got a winner. And we are in the Gladiator. I wanted to give you guys a little test drive as if you were driving it so you could kind of hear what it was like actually kind of going about in the world, going about your day. And fuel cell supplement shirt. This is from a subscriber, by the way, so check them out if you want. They gave me this. I got this sweater about 3 years ago. After I had a bunch of mail left over after the post office shut down my box, and I opened this, and I wanted to give them a shout out because I do like it and I enjoy it. I wear it all the time. So anyway, but the Gladiator does sound really good with my new custom exhaust, and the wind is crazy right now. So if you hear any, I mean, I'm sure you can see it out the window. If you hear like a bunch of weird noise, that's not the Jeep. The wind is just absolutely nuts. But you can hear. It's got a great little sound to it. Now, it's not as good as a V8, but it's a big kind of burly V6, and it sounds good. I like it. It's really awesome the difference I hear after hearing it just cut off and then putting that rear muffler section on it. It sounds really good. It's very refined now. It's not, you know, real farty and loud. It's like perfect. Honestly, I'm pretty proud of myself. Now, again, there are a lot of people out there, you know, there are a lot of people who aren't going to want this look, and they're gonna want it to come out the back, and they're gonna want like a fancy tip and everything. But I think for the money and the time, again, about 15 bucks and about half an hour, I don't think you can beat it. It sounds good in here. I'm on the gas right now. You can hear it a little bit, but it's not annoying or too loud in any way. I'll get up to about 50, 55 here. I do have to come to a stop shortly, but you know, it's really pleasant. Now, you can't really hear anything over the wind noise because this is a soft top, but you know, take my word for it, it's nice. I'll drop a gear and get on it. It just sounds like a little performance car. I really actually love the way it sounds. If you like the way a GTR sounds, you're gonna love this. Exhaust is an exhaust. You know, it's gonna sound how it's gonna sound. You can't do a whole lot with it. Now, you can play around with, you know, the type of muffler and the shape and all that stuff, and you can produce different sounds, but an engine, you know, basically is gonna sound how it's gonna sound. You could spend, you know, 3,000 bucks on an exhaust, or you could spend 100 bucks on an exhaust, and the difference isn't gonna be a whole lot. Differences are gonna be like, does it drone? You know, that's a lot of cost for aftermarket exhaust companies to figure out, you know, how we can make it loud but without making it drone. Is it gonna drone? Is it gonna be refined? Is it gonna sound like a tin can? Or is it gonna sound like a deep, you know, depending on if you go with an X pipe or an H pipe, when you're dealing with a car, you can get a raspier, higher pitch sound, or you can get a kind of a lower, deeper sound. So there are things you can do. I'm not gonna say like that an exhaust doesn't matter. There are things you can do. But at the same time, if you want to save some cash and you just want to hack off your muffler, if you got an engine that's going to sound good anyway, it's still going to sound good. It's of course my opinion, and everybody's got one, but every vehicle that I've cut the exhaust off of, I've enjoyed the sound. Like, I haven't done one yet where I'm like, ugh, that doesn't sound good. They all sound pretty good. Important to mention though, I'm talking about V8s and big V6s. If I cut the mufflers off of a Honda Civic, well, that's not gonna sound good, and everybody knows that. Except for the 16-year-olds that cut the muffler off of their mom's Honda Accord that they got and they think it sounds awesome, but trust us, it doesn't. Anyway, in conclusion, I like it. Sounds great. I spent about 15 bucks. It took me about half an hour, and with that in mind, can't beat it. I hope you enjoyed another episode of Straight Piping Every Vehicle I Own with Street Speed 717, and let me tell you, I got a great Gladiator video coming up soon. As you can see, stay tuned for that. Hope you enjoy. If you did enjoy, I forget if I said that already. If you did enjoy, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Take care and have a great night, guys. I'm also gonna put a little clip right after this part where I'm just driving around for a few minutes so you can kind of hear what the truck is like in case you wanna do this to yours. So you can kind of get an idea of like actually just driving it around town and whatnot. But that's only, it's a couple minutes. If you wanna hear it, great. If not, click off.